United Daily Updates. The home of true Manchester United fans. Your trusted source for everything red. Welcome back to United Daily Updates, the place where every true Manchester United fan comes to get the news straight, honest, and without any nonsense. If you are new here, welcome to the family. We are so glad you found us. And if you have been with us for a while, you already know that this is the most reliable community for United news on the internet. Before we get into today's story, please head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe if you have not already done so. We break down stories exactly like this one in video form regularly, and you do not want to miss a single update. Now let us get into it, because today's news is one of those stories that will sting a little if you are a United fan who had been getting quietly excited about this one. The door has been slammed shut and United are left on the outside looking in. Picture this. You are Manchester United. You have identified a player you want. You have reportedly put together a budget of €70 million to make it happen. You are ready to go. You are watching the player. You are monitoring the situation. Everything seems to be pointing in the right direction. And then, just like that, the door slams shut right in your face before you even get a chance to knock properly. That is exactly what appears to have happened with Manchester United's reported pursuit of Barcelona's Fermin Lopez. According to reports from Spanish outlet Mundo Deportivo, United were prepared to pay €70 million, which works out to around £61 million, to bring the 22-year-old attacking midfielder to Old Trafford this summer. It sounded exciting. A young, talented, versatile Spain international who had already shown what he could do at one of the biggest clubs in the world. The kind of player United fans would have been absolutely delighted to see pulling on the red shirt. But it is not happening. And the reason it is not happening is both simple and a little bit frustrating. Hansi said no. What actually happened here? Let us walk through exactly how this story unfolded, because the details are quite interesting. According to Mundo Deportivo, the Barcelona manager Hansi read the reports circulating about Fermin Lopez potentially leaving the club this summer. And rather than wait to see how things developed or let the rumors die down on their own, Flick took immediate and very direct action. He went to Fermin personally and asked him to stay. That is a significant moment. A manager of Flick's experience and reputation does not make that kind of personal approach unless he genuinely values the player and sees him as an important part of his plans going forward. He did not have to do that. He could have let the situation play out. He chose not to. And Fermin's response? He told Flick exactly what the German wanted to hear. He said he wanted to stay at Barcelona. Despite the links to Manchester United. Despite the reported €70 million offer sitting on the table. Despite everything. Fermin Lopez told his manager he is going nowhere. That, as they say, appears to be that. But wait, was Barcelona not trying to sell players? Here is where the story becomes genuinely interesting and raises some very real questions worth thinking about carefully. Just weeks before this development, reports had emerged from Barcelona suggesting that Flick himself had actually indicated he wanted to reduce the number of midfield options he has available to him. And when you look at the midfield group Barcelona currently have, you can see why that conversation was happening. We are talking about Pedri, Frenkie de Jong, Gavi, Dani Olmo, Fermin Lopez, Marc Asado, and Marc Bernal. That is an enormous amount of talent crammed into one area of the pitch. Even at a club as big as Barcelona, finding proper and meaningful game time for all of those players is virtually impossible. On top of that, Barcelona are not in the best financial position right now. This is well documented and not a secret. The club has had serious financial pressures for a few years, and a sale or two in the transfer window could genuinely help them balance the books and perhaps invest in other areas of the squad where they feel they need strengthening. So you would think that a €70 million offer for a player who is not even getting regular starts would be very difficult to turn down, right? The money would help the club. The player would get proper first-team football elsewhere. The squad would have one fewer midfield option competing for the same positions. It would seem to make sense for everyone involved. But football is never quite that straightforward, is it? The moment Flick heard United were interested and made that personal appeal to Fermin to stay, the whole calculation changed. And it changed because Fermin himself decided he wanted to stay. And ultimately, when a player genuinely wants to remain at his club, it becomes incredibly hard for anyone to force a move to happen. Who exactly is Fermin Lopez, and why were United so keen? For any United fans who are not completely familiar with Fermin Lopez, let us give you the full picture of the player United were reportedly willing to spend £61 million on. Fermin Lopez is 22 years old. He is Spanish. He came through the famous Barcelona Academy, which is known all around the world for producing technically exceptional footballers who understand the game at a deep level. He is an attacking midfielder, but his versatility is one of his most valuable qualities. He can play as a traditional attacking midfielder sitting behind the striker. He can operate in a more central position in the middle of the park. And he can also play on the left wing. That kind of flexibility is genuinely rare and genuinely valuable in the modern game. His numbers for Barcelona since making his debut in the 2023-2024 season are actually quite impressive when you think about them in context. In 88 appearances for the club, he has scored 19 goals and contributed 11 assists. For a player who has not always been a guaranteed starter, those are meaningful and productive numbers. Goals and assists are the things that matter at the end of the day, and Fermin has been delivering them even when he has only been getting limited opportunities. And that brings us to perhaps the most interesting part of his situation at Barcelona. Out of those 88 appearances, he has only started on 38 occasions. Think about that for a moment. He has come off the bench, made a difference, scored important goals, and still only commanded a starting position less than half the time. The reason is simple. When Pedri is fit, he plays. When Dani Olmo is fit, he plays. When Frenkie de Jong is available, he plays. The competition for midfield spots at Barcelona is absolutely fierce, and even genuinely talented players like Fermin find themselves on the bench more often than they perhaps deserve to be. You would think that prospect alone, the idea of walking into Manchester United and being a regular starter rather than a rotation option, would be enormously appealing to a 22-year-old who wants to play football and who wants to be central to everything rather than peripheral. But clearly the pull of Barcelona, combined with Flick's personal request for him to stay, was stronger than the temptation of a new challenge. The Flick factor. Let us talk about Hansi Flick for a moment because his role in this story is actually quite fascinating. Flick is not just any manager. He is one of the most successful and highly respected coaches in world football. He won everything at Bayern Munich. He took Germany to major tournaments. And now he is at Barcelona doing impressive work with a very talented squad. When a manager of that caliber looks a player in the eye and says he needs him, that is a powerful and personal message. It is not a public statement made through the media. It is not a vague hint dropped in a press conference. It is a direct, personal conversation between a manager and a player. And that kind of personal investment from a coach can change everything. Think about it from Fermin's perspective. Here you have one of the most respected managers in European football telling you personally that you are an important part of his plans and he wants you to stay. That message would mean an enormous amount to any player, let alone a 22-year-old who is still developing and still finding his way at one of the biggest clubs in the world. The fact that Flick made this move so quickly, the moment the reports of United's interest started circulating, tells you that he does not see Fermin as surplus to requirements at all. Quite the opposite. He sees him as a player worth keeping, worth fighting to retain, and worth using going forward even in a squad already packed with midfield talent. Where does this leave Manchester United? So where does this leave United in their search for attacking midfield options this summer? That is the key question now, and it is not an easy one to answer. The honest truth is that a door that seemed to be at least slightly open has now been firmly closed. United were willing to spend significant money here. €70 million is not a small fee. It is a serious investment that shows the club genuinely wanted this player and was prepared to back that interest with real financial commitment. The fact that the deal is seemingly dead before it ever really got started is a blow, even if it is not a shock given the competition for Fermin's signature from his own club. What United need to do now is move on quickly and identify the next option. The transfer window does not wait for anyone, and the clubs that succeed in the market are always the ones that have backup plans ready and waiting rather than spending all their energy pursuing one target and then scrambling when that target is unavailable. There will be other players. There are always other players. But whether United can identify the right one, move quickly enough, and spend their budget wisely is a question that only time will answer. The bigger pattern worth noticing. It is worth stepping back for just a moment and looking at a pattern that United fans will recognize all too well. Manchester United identify a target. Reports emerge. Excitement builds in the fan community. And then, for one reason or another, the deal does not happen. Sometimes it is because the player chooses another club. Sometimes it is because the selling club demands too much money. Sometimes it is because the player himself decides to stay put. And in this case, it is because the manager at Barcelona went out of his way to convince his player to remain. This is the reality of the modern transfer market. Even when you have the money and the intention, you cannot always get the player you want. Other people have a say in these decisions too. The player has a say. The selling club's manager has a say. And sometimes, as has happened here, that say is a very loud and very definitive no. But here is the thing. United cannot let this set them back. The summer window is full of possibilities and the club still has needs to address before the season begins. Missing out on Fermin Lopez hurts, especially if you had got excited about the idea of seeing him in a red shirt. But the response has to be focused, calm, and determined. Find the next target. Make the next move. Keep building. What do you think about all this? Here is something worth thinking about as a United fan. Was Fermin Lopez exactly the right player for what United need this summer? Would the reported £61 million have been the best use of the budget available? And now that this door has closed, who should United be turning their attention to next? These are important questions and there are no easy answers. But this is exactly what we love discussing over on the United Daily Updates YouTube channel. Come and join the conversation. Tell us who you think United should target now that the Fermin Lopez situation appears to be over. Tell us whether you think this is a big miss or whether you feel the money could be better spent elsewhere. We want to hear from you because your opinion as a genuine United fan matters to us more than anything. The facts, simply put. Let us put all the key facts together simply and clearly so you have everything in one place. Manchester United were reportedly prepared to pay €70 million, which is approximately £61 million, for Barcelona's Fermin Lopez. The player is 22 years old, Spanish, and came through the Barcelona Academy. He has scored 19 goals and contributed 11 assists in 88 appearances for Barcelona but has only started 38 of those games. He can play as an attacking midfielder, in a central midfield role, and on the left wing. Barcelona manager Hansi personally approached Fermin and asked him to stay at the club. Fermin told Flick he wanted to remain at Barcelona despite United's interest. Fermin still has 4 years remaining on his Barcelona contract. And according to current reports, he will not be leaving the club anytime soon. The pursuit appears to be over. Final thoughts. There is a Spanish saying that roughly translates to the fact that when a door closes, a window opens somewhere else. For Manchester United right now, that needs to be the mindset. The Fermin Lopez door is closed. It has been closed quickly and cleanly and there is no sign of it being reopened. The people at the club responsible for transfers now need to look for that window. The good news is that there is still time in the summer window. There are still good players available. And United have shown with this pursuit that they are willing to spend serious money to bring in real quality. That willingness to invest is encouraging even if this particular investment has not worked out. What matters most now is that the club does not waste weeks lamenting a transfer that was not meant to be. Move quickly. Identify the right alternative. And make it happen. United fans deserve a summer of real, meaningful progress. After everything they have been through in recent years, the very least the club can give them is a transfer window that makes them feel optimistic about what is coming next. We are United. We are red. And we keep believing no matter what. Thank you so much for reading today. If you found this useful or if it got you thinking, please share it with every United fan you know. And head over to the United Daily Updates YouTube channel right now where we will be discussing this story and everything else happening at Old Trafford. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, and become part of the most passionate United community on the internet. We will see you in the next one. Come on United. United Daily Updates. Your trusted source for Manchester United news.